Everyone, thank you for joining in on this Sunday, October 4th, 2020. The format for the service today will be Kansho, or the calling bell, followed by the chanting of the Butsu Ge. Okay, so you have all your seitens. I've said, our seitens haven't been used for 6 months, so if you want to come and pick one up, you can, and so that you have one at home. But make sure you're chanting at home. Remember, you're the best chanter in the room, so be confident at least. You don't have to sound good or anything. But then we're going to start with our normal schedule. Okay? All right. Thank you very much.
Say Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this morning's service. My name is David, and I will be the chairperson for this morning's service. We will continue with the golden chain. I am a link in Amita's golden chain of love that stretches around the world. I will keep my link bright and strong. I will be kind and gentle to every living thing and protect all who are weaker than myself. I will think pure and beautiful thoughts, say pure and beautiful words, and do pure and beautiful deeds. May every link in Amita's golden chain of love be bright and strong, and may we all attain perfect peace. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Our first Gatha will be in Lumbini's garden, led by Reverend Corey. Afterwards, Reverend Corey will lead us into three treasures.
Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Sankemo. 人参受けたし、今すでに浮く。仏法聞きけたし、今すでに聞く。本のみ根性に向かってどせずんば、さらにいずれの書に向かって過去のみをどせん。来週ものともに指針に参謀に消えしたて祭るべし。自ら仏に消えしたて祭る。まさに願わくは史上と共に態度を体現して無常意を起こさん。自ら法に消えしたて祭る。まさに願わくは史上と共に 深く教蔵に入りて知恵組のごとくならん。自らそうに消し立てまつる。まさに願わくは史上とともに、大衆を取りして一切無限ならん。無常人人二名の方は、約千万号にもあよことくたし、我今検問し受持することを得たり、願わくは如来の真実義を義し立てまつらん。The three treasures are, is it to be born into human life? Now we are living it. Difficult, is it to hear the teachings of the Blessed One? Now we hear it. If we do not deliver ourselves in the present life, no hope is there that we shall be free from suffering and sorrow in the ocean of birth and death. Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I put my faith in Buddha. May we all together absorb into ourselves the principle of thy way to enlightenment and awaken in ourselves thy supreme will. I put my faith in Dharma. May we all together be submerged in the depth of thy doctrine and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. I put my faith in Sangha. May we all together become units in true accord, in thy life of harmony, in a spirit of universal brotherhood, free from the bondage of selfishness. Even through ages of myriads of kalpas, hard is it to hear such an excellent, profound, and wonderful doctrine. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of Tathagata's teaching. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namondos, 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 namondos.
We will now have our message for the day by Reverend Corey.
With regard to other power, since it is inconceivable Buddha wisdom, the attainment of supreme enlightenment by foolish beings possessed of blind passions comes about through the working shared only by Buddhas. It is not in any way the design of the practicer. Thus, no working is true working. Working refers to the calculation of the person of self-power. Concerning other power, then no working is true working. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namondos, namondos, namondos. Good morning, everyone. Again, thank you for joining us today, this morning, for this morning's service. I was thinking I have a lot of moving parts going on today. You can ask, but I'll try to do it as best as possible. This passage that I chose is actually from the collected works of Shinran on the collection of letters, Zensho text. Oh no, it's actually, yeah, collection of letters. Sorry, I read them. But it's talking about Buddha wisdom versus our wisdom. And then our wisdom is a mind of calculation, how we plan about things. This this came about because this week I've been doing a message for Junior YBA or Southern District Junior YBL leadership workshop that's happening next week. And I was talking to them how to be a leader here, if we think about Amida Buddha as our ultimate leader, yes, Amida Buddha is our example, our role model. But what does Amida Buddha really do? Amida Buddha thinks about everyone else, understands the true essence of each and every person, that we're all dealing with different types of stress or anxiety or even egotistic nature, like we think about ourselves or things like that. And so, because of that, Amida Buddha also leads from behind, making sure that no one is left behind. You know, and all we have to do is participate and also say Namo Amida Butsu, or just think about the Buddha, reflect on these things. And the most important thing is to just let it freely come out of you. Seems kind of easy. That's why 1 hour a week, we come, I guess, online now, but we'd usually come to temple and have service. And we get one piece of Buddha wisdom. Let's say calculation. Today we're saying like doing nothing is actually true working, because that means we rely on Amida Buddha's work. Okay. Well, let me show you in visual terms. My daughter's been watching this great show on Netflix. So if any of you have 5 and under, or even I think first grade and under, they might enjoy it. But it's called Number Blocks on Netflix, and I've been watching it with her. They start out with counting. They go to and during the counting they do addition, and then by the end of these, like, I don't know how many episodes there are, they're actually looking at squared numbers and all these different things, and it's all visual, so it's great. So I was thinking, maybe visually we'll talk a little bit today. So I'm coming down here. It's going to be a little darker, but I think you guys will be able to see me, right? You can see me? Thank you, Carrie. Thumbs up. Okay, so here, to put it into perspective, I said we come to temple or we join into service to learn 1 lesson a week, right? 1 hour. 1 hour. I have to write slowly because my handwriting is that bad. When I used to be a Dharma school teacher, the kids would laugh at my handwriting. And the high school kids, right? They laugh at my handwriting. They're like, what? But okay, those are my own personal issues, right? 1 hour. So here we have our whole week, right? Or if you can see, let's say today, tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I'm not missing any days. What's great is that during this COVID experience, my kids woke up yesterday and got ready for school. They thought it was Friday. So it was great. But here's our week, right? And so let's think about this. 1 hour. What's the value? Some people say, why are we part Jodo Shinshu Buddhists and things? Let's say, okay, so we'll put a 2. This is where number blocks comes into play. They're like, this is taking too long to count, and so they separated it. This is like new math. I spoke to you guys before that I didn't know how to do new math last year, and I got in trouble because I was a terrible dad to do all my son's homework with him wrong, and he had to redo it. So this is kind of somewhat of what they usually do, right? And then down here we'll put 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. Okay, and then actually they probably go 2 again, but we won't do that. That's too. I think that's too many 4s or too many numbers already. So we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 14, right? 14 hours, or 14. And then 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, right? So I go 28. And then we don't need that bottom part anymore, right? So 8, 6. Oh, I'm a little working ahead of myself. Calculation, see? Buddha wisdom is terrible. People wisdom is terrible. Well, if they paid attention a little bit, no, I'm sorry, I should have said that. but this is the point. 168 hours in the week. That seems like a lot of hours. What do you do in your 168 hours? And how many of us have actually taken the time to think about Buddha's teachings outside of the 1 hour? So 167 hours in the week, right? 160. Yeah, I can't write. 167 hours is spent outside of service. What do you do in your 167 hours? That's up to you, right? Do you think about the Buddha's teachings? Do you reflect on how they interact in your life? What do we do with our 167 hours? I wonder. Well, this isn't even so the time we take at the temple isn't even 1% of our week. It's like 0.66%, or no, what is it? I don't know. You could do that at home, but it's less than 1%. It's less than 1% you come to temple. Okay, and I wanted to share that with you because let's say you come to temple and learn one thing. Remember I said calculation today, or no working is true working. No working is true working. So don't calculate on your enlightenment, just live life. But if you did it like this, can you see the dots? Here, maybe I should make them bigger. Okay. So many dots, I'm getting lost in them. Now, I read this quote last month for the Abba Memorial. Let me read it for you. It's by Stephen Jobs. Do you guys all remember Stephen Jobs? He's the guy that gave us the great iPhone and the iPad. If anything, I think all kids should recognize him for that. My kids could not survive without it. But he said, you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. So you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in the future, right? So let's say today you've actually thought about Buddha's wisdom versus human wisdom, and that we shouldn't use our wisdom. We should just relax and go with the flow, sort of thing, right? And then let's say you go to temple, you've been going to temple all your life, and you have all these dots like this. Now, when you reflect on your life, you go, it's kind of a mess. Well, mine would be, I would say mine's kind of a mess, because I didn't, outside of temple, and in my youth especially, I didn't think about that 1 hour versus the 167 hours. I just went 1 hour at a time, or I went, this is my temple life versus this is my everyday life. Okay. So you might, and then so every week you come back and you put another dot, and then you put another dot, and you put another dot, and another dot, and these dots, and these dots, and these dots, and these dots. What is this mess? Can you figure it out? Well, not not always. But if I said, okay, let's travel the path of Nembutsu, right? Let's travel, or let's do this path together. And that might be why a lot of the older generations had to keep coming back to temple even during the week, just for camaraderie, for relationships, just to get along, to make maybe ask sensei questions, right? And so it goes like, it's like something like this. Well, I know the Buddha knows whole picture, or people that have come before us can reflect back and know the whole picture. But as we go through it, we see this. We see these dots. And so let's say, you'll probably figure it out most of the way through. But this is where we start. Okay. And then let's say this is the second dot, and then I go this way. I had a dot here where to stop. Oh, I went too far. Okay. Then let's do this one. Let's do this one. Okay. And then I'm not really sure how this goes, because one thing is for sure, you don't do kanji with your left hand. Or you don't, I always used to get in trouble for that, because it's the way my brain's wired is backwards, apparently. Okay? So now you can see something like that. So we could connect more dots. It's like, oh, okay. So you've been using these teachings like today, maybe no calculation, Buddha wisdom versus human wisdom, right? Or the truth. Okay. And you might say, well, the Four Noble Truths is the mind of non-attachment, right? Which gives me, I'm sorry, this one goes this way. And then, what else do we say? Today we'll do 6 Paramitas, and what else is there that we do? 3 treasures, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. This is kind of hard. Okay. Do you guys know what I'm writing now? Emily probably knows, maybe. Oh, you're cheating.
No, people are confused.
Oh, what?
Why are you connecting the dots on your thing?
Because this is what we're supposed to do when we come to temple. We're not just supposed to, it's called active listening in visual form. Okay? So by the time you start getting to a lot longer, or you start using the teachings more, or maybe in when we talk about even shinjin, right, the true and trusting heart, or the mind, the true and trusting mind, you would understand humility, right? Now, do you guys see it? This is one of the hardest characters that I always hated to write. Now I have to write it all the time. I'm not looking at straight, so it's kind of crooked at the bottom. But you know what character that is? It's very rare to find it in the Japanese dictionary if you use a digital one. It's shaku. So whenever we do homeo cards, this is the first character, shaku dot dot. Right? Huh? Oh, did I mess up? Gomen ne. Oh, what is it? Oh, that's why it's crooked.
Thank you.
No, thank you. Looks the same to me, but yeah. Thank you. I have to make sure I write it properly in the future. But yeah, thank you, Emily. So shaku, right? But that's why. If we don't have the whole picture, it's hard to say we're Buddha. If we don't work with the dots and just go with the teachings, it's hard to say that we really understand what's going on. And just because we only come 1 hour a week, and the sermon is only 15 minutes at the usually. It makes it very difficult. That's why Nanbutsu, or this path, is so important, because just by accepting our true selves and lowering our ego selves, we can absorb, learn much, much more. So today, as I said, the mind of calculation is our mind, self-power mind. But as Shinran wrote in his letter, true working is no working. Meaning, just actively listen. And eventually, like Mr. Stephen Jobs says, when you look backwards on the things that you've done, or the things that you've heard or listened to, you can connect the dots to understand a picture, or understand why we've been doing things, what we've been doing. And eventually even understand this path that the historical Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha, gave us, and taught us the sutras, like the Amida Sutra, or the Sutra of Immeasurable Light and Life, where the Jusei Ge and the Sambutsu Ge come from. So yeah, I told you I had a lot of things going on in here, and wanted to make it kind of fast, but yet something a little meaningful, of course, you know. And hopefully it'll ring true to the junior YBA too. We're all in the same boat as unenlightened beings, so we're all doing our best, and then eventually they'll be able to look back too and say, "This is truly wonderful. This is truly life." Okay, so let me come back up here, and we'll read this passage one more time. If you please join me in Gassho. With regard to other power, since it is inconceivable Buddha wisdom, the attainment of supreme enlightenment by foolish beings possessed of blind passions comes about through the working shared only by Buddhas. It is not in any way the design of the practicer. Thus, no working is true working. Working refers to the calculation of the person of self-power. Concerning other power, then, no working is true working. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Oh, by the way, if you look up in the Japanese dictionary this character, the first definition isn't shaku, especially in the simplified term. It's explain. So just to give you a heads up, you might. It was kind of eye-opening when I tried to look up this character as well. So again, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Emily, too, for your help.
Thank you, Sensei, for your message. I vaguely remember new math when I was growing up. That was a long time ago. Next, we will recite the 6 Paramitas led by Reverend Corey.
Haramitsu. ミホトケ様の御心に立ち返らさせていただいて、一つ、今日一日、清らかな眼温かいなせけ、つつましやかな態度で暮らしましょう。一つ、今日一日、腹を立てますまい。一つ、今日一日、不平不足嘘を申しますまい。一つ、今日一日、私の仕事に全身全力を挙げて尽くさせていただきましょう。一つ、今日一日、夜昼常に私を守らせた本を御仏のご恩を喜ばさせていただきましょう。一つ、今日一日、ナモアミダ仏を唱えさせていただきましょう。Six Paramitas, turning our thoughts to Lord Buddha. Let us throughout the day live with clear eyes, warm hearts, and humble attitude. Let us throughout the day not become angry. Let us throughout the day not utter words of discontent, dissatisfaction, and untruth. Let us throughout the day do our daily work with all our power. Let us throughout the day rejoice in the love and compassion of our Lord Buddha, who is constantly watching over us day and night. Let us throughout the day repeat the holy name, Namo Amida Butsu. Promise, the Lord Buddha is our eternal Father and Mother. The Lord Buddha always keeps watch over us. We promise to listen to the teachings of the Lord Buddha and perfect ourselves by following his ideals. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namandos, namandos.
We will now have announcements. If you have an announcement, please feel free to unmute yourself.
Hey everybody, Ron G, Temple President here. On behalf of the Venice Temple, officiant, Reverend Corey Kwan, thank you very much for that very deep message. I'm sure the junior Y kids with their young, sharp minds will have no problems understanding it, unlike us older folk here. Our co-host, Emily Korea, our camera person, Carrie Tokirio, our organist, Judy Hopfield, and our MC, David Nishina. And thank you all for attending today's service. I don't think I have anything new to add. I think most of you get our email blast, so you know what's coming up. I think that's it for us. Thanks.
Then we will conclude with our last Gatha, Sayonara, led by Reverend Corey.
Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namandos.
We will end the service with our benediction. We surround all men and all forms of life with infinite love and compassion. Particularly do we send forth loving thoughts to those in suffering and sorrow, to all those in doubt and ignorance, and to those whose feet are standing close to the great chains men call death. We send forth oceans of wisdom, mercy, and love. Namo Amida Butsu.
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 Thank you, everyone, for attending today's service. We will now unmute everyone in case you want to stay after the service and visit. Thank you.